We have our timeline set up to begin, and we have our objects or art created on the stage. Now let's start to move things from one place to another. And we will start by just going frame by frame, whereas later on in the program, we will do things that Flash will generate automatically for you. But right now, we're going to start very traditional and basic, and we will create each frame. So we're going to want to make a 1-second animation. And if we are working at 12 frames per second, a 1-second animation will have 12 frames. So in the 1 second, we want to move this shape from the left side of the stage to the right side of the stage. So I'm simply going to insert a keyframe so it duplicates exactly what was on the previous frame, and I'm just going to move it a little. And again, right click and insert a keyframe. And I'm going to keep doing that until I'm at number 12, but of course I want to move it each time. So let's see what we have so far. Okay. Now, if I want to be able to see the previous frame, so I have 3 frames right now. If I want to be able to see the 2 steps and positions that I started with, I want to turn on what's called onion skin. We have onion skin outline, which of course just shows you the outlines, or we can do onion skin, which shows you the actual shapes. They're just faded out. Either way is fine. And it will show you for whatever number of frames you pull this bracket. So right now there's only 3 frames created, so we can't see more than that. But you could also limit it to simply 1 frame before. So if you notice, I have all 3 frames or keyframes showing now, but I could limit it to simply the one before. But if you notice, I did not move these at a very even pace or rate. So I'm going to go back and make an adjustment. There's my first keyframe. Here's my second. I'm going to try to evenly spread these out. Okay, then there's my third. And let's go on to the fourth. So we're going to insert another keyframe. Now I can continue to right click and click on insert keyframe and then just dragging them lightly. Or I can press the F6 key and it inserts a keyframe, and I can click and drag. I pressed F6, click and drag, F6, click and drag, and I'm going to keep doing that until I have moved this all the way across the screen. This is a very basic movement. And let's see, what do we have? I think that's frame 12. So I'm going to turn onion skin off now. Click and drag, and look at that. And I will use the controllers to play it. And you can see I've moved test 1, the shape on test 1, I've moved it from left to right. And of course, the ball, layer, box, and triangle, they only appear on frame 1 because we haven't done anything with them yet. Let's simply hold the ball in place for the first 5 frames. So if all we want to do is hold the ball image from frame 1 to frame 5, we don't need to keep recreating it on keyframes. It exists created on keyframe 1, and we can simply insert a regular frame on keyframe 5, and it will just hold the image from that first keyframe all the way until 5. Okay? Now, let's say starting at frame 6, we want this to start moving. So we will insert a keyframe. It automatically duplicated that previous keyframe. And now let's keep putting keyframes in and moving it. But maybe we don't physically move it. Maybe we resize and let it grow. So we're going to use our free transform tool. And we're simply going to resize it. So, keyframe, it's small, it's bigger. Let's insert another keyframe. Let's make it even bigger. Let's insert another keyframe and make it a little bit bigger. Insert another keyframe. Let's shrink it down. Another keyframe. Shrink it some more. One more keyframe. Let's shrink it back. And let's see what we have here. Okay. So we've held the ball in position with no change until we get to frame 6, which is another keyframe, at which point it grows and then shrinks again. Now, all we're seeing when we press the play button of the player is playing through one time. But you could test it as a flash movie, in which case you are pressing Command Return, or on a PC it's Control Return. And now you'll see the animation play over and over until you close the movie window. We have moved the shape on test 1 from left to right, frame by frame. We have paused the ball in one position until frame 6, at which time we resize it. We have it expand and contract. I think we should move box, but let's start box, or it's really a rectangle. Let's start it from the right side and move it left. And then I think we will spin our triangle. So on keyframe 1 for the box, we're starting on the right side this time, and let's insert a keyframe. Again, you could right click to insert the keyframe or press F6, and of course then just move it to a new position. Again, I am going to turn on the onion skin, which works like tracing paper, so I can evenly move each frame so there are no big jumps. I'll F6 or insert a keyframe again, and F6, and again, and we'll keep doing this till we've moved all the way across the screen. And one more, we're moving it off stage this time. Okay, so I'm going to scrub or drag the playhead across so I can see the movements. And the last one is the triangle, and I'm going to use my transform tool again. And let's see. I'm going to actually move it over here just to balance the screen a bit. We'll start over here, and we have the ball or circle over here resizing itself. We have shapes moving back and forth. Okay, so on keyframe 1, we have our first position, and we'll insert another keyframe, and we're going to rotate another, insert keyframe, rotate, and we're going to just keep inserting keyframes. Oops. And I'm just simply rotating the shape around, attempting to adjust and make changes evenly. Okay, let's see what we have now. I'm going to turn the onion skin off. Ooh, let's play it. And I'm going to do Command Return to watch it. So we have 4 layers in our animation, all occurring at the same time but in different places. Moving frame by frame. That means each frame there's a slight change of position or size. And we've completed our first animation.